Hello, hello. Okay, it's working. There we go. Mhm. Okay, let's see. Give a couple of minutes. Let's wait and see what happens. Hello? Okay. Hmm. Let's give it a few minutes. Wait until some people come in and then we'll go ahead and start. Sorry, give me a minute. There's something wrong. I just need to fix it. Hello, hello. The hell's going on here? The hell's going? Jesus. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking hell, it's still happening. Sorry, again, I apologize for this. Just something's going on. I don't know what the hell. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. I, again, guys, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm facing some issues when it comes to the setup. I've never had this. This has never happened before. Oh god. Just let me. What the hell's going on here? Yeah, Streamyard. I don't know what the hell's going on. Again, for some reason, I can hear myself through my headphones. This has never happened before. I'm trying to I'm trying to solve it again. I don't know. I've tried everything. No, no, that's the thing. It's not normal. This isn't supposed to happen, but for some reason now I can actually hear myself. Usually, it's can you can you, okay? So can you still hear me? Because I don't know what the hell happened, but for some reason it was saying that my mic was unplugged, even though it wasn't. The hell is Okay, so you can't hear me. That's good, but I can still hear me through the headphones. Again, I don't know why I don't know why this is happening. Okay, I'm trying to. This is insane. I guess God knows how. I should have started talking about the topics that I want to talk about by now, but I'm so focused on this shit. All right, fuck it, screw it. I'll deal with it after the stream's over. Okay. All right. Let's just like I said, I'll deal with it after the stream's over. I don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe next live stream will be better. So, okay. Fuck yeah. Uh, all right. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and first thing I want to talk about. Let me just go ahead and share my screen real quick. So, where is it? There we go. Wait, what? Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's talk about Shang-Chi. Let's talk about one Shang-Chi. Okay, so before I talk about what it is that I want to talk about when it comes to Shang-Chi, I feel like I need to clarify something. So for the past 3 weeks, I wasn't home. I wasn't home. I was out. I was just having fun. I disconnected mostly from the internet to just give my brain a chance to relax. And honestly, it was good. It was really, really good. I had a lot of fun, but unfortunately, a lot of things did happen while I was gone. And this is apparently one of them. The whole thing with Shang-Chi, the whole thing with the actor turning into a complete bitch online. And we're going to talk about all of that. I want to talk about all of that in this. On this live stream. So I'm hoping this live stream is going to be a hell of a lot longer than normal because there are a lot of things that I want to cover. Basically, everything that I missed while I was gone. So, Shang-Chi, first thing I want to talk about Shang-Chi. So, let's talk about the actual movie in and of itself before we get into two of the things that I want to talk about when it comes to Shang-Chi, which is the main actor themselves, Simu Liu, or Simu Liu, however the fuck you pronounce his last name. And then I want to talk about the box office because I think there's a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people who are severely misinformed when it comes to the box office, how a movie performs in the box office, and whether or not a studio considers that movie to be a success. We're going to get into all of that. But first, I want to talk about the movie in and of itself. So you can see I've got the Rotten Tomatoes page pulled up right here. Now, as you can see, critics loved it. Of course, I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. Critics who will give any movie that's being put out there to virtue signal is going to get a good review. I don't think anyone's just surprised by the fact that it has like a 92% is certified fresh. So, oh, that means the movie's awesome. And then, of course, you've got the audience score. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I did see the movie. I did. I saw the movie. Here are my thoughts. Here are my thoughts on the movie. And I won't spend too long on this. The movie was not good. This movie was not good. Again, I don't know what movie all of these people who went out there and say that this movie was a triumph. I don't know what the fuck they saw on screen when they went into that theater. I don't know if they laced their popcorns with LSD or whatever the fuck, but this movie was not good. I wouldn't even call this, you know what? You could call this an average movie at best. But for me personally, this was not a good movie. This was a horrible, horrible movie. This movie was a mess. Seriously, there's like three movies happening in just this one movie alone. There's like three stories. There's the story with the dad and the mom. There's a story with the main character Shang-Chi. And then there's another story about some other mythical monster that got trapped or whatever the fuck. Now it wants to come out and basically destroy the universe or whatever. There's like three movies happening here. And the movie doesn't dedicate time, the proper amount of time to any of them. This movie was awful. And not to mention the main character himself is about as interesting as watching paint dry. Actually, no, no, scratch that. I would much rather watch paint dry than watch this fuck. He's boring. He's completely fucking boring. He's somehow the least interesting part of this goddamn movie. All of the other characters, except for Aquafina, was way more interesting than the main character. It's just the movie was awful. I could go into like full on details, but I don't want to spend too long discussing this movie. Also, I'm pretty sure you've seen other people already go into detail about the actual plot and how it makes no goddamn sense. And how, like I said, there's like three movies happening at the same time, and not even mentioning the shit ton of plot conveniences that they're just laid all throughout this goddamn movie. And not to mention the in the third act where they go to basically Asian Wakanda is basically it is that it's basically a ripoff of Black Panther, or at the very least the Wakanda part of it. And it's just God, it's so goddamn bad. And the thing that pisses me off the most about this movie is that they make the 10 rings, which are technically the 10 bracelets, they make it such an important part of the movie, and yet they never tell you what these things are. They never tell you where these came from. They never tell you how it grants a person the power that it gives them. How Simu Liu was able to just immediately learn how to use them, even though he's never had them once. It's just there's so many things that just either make no goddamn sense, or is just it just happens for the sake of the plot. And it's just this movie was not good. This movie was awful. Now, let's see. Boring as a wooden board. Hell, he might be worse than Captain Marvel. I don't know. I still think Captain Marvel's a little bit worse. Okay, jeez. I don't know. They're both bad. They're both pretty damn bad. But yeah, again, I don't know what movie all of these people saw, but this was not a triumph. This was especially not a triumph. This just goes to show me you can't trust people in the who are basically given access to these movies early on, because they're not going to be honest. They're not going to be honest. Now, do I believe there are some people who watched this movie and genuinely enjoyed it? Yes, I do believe that. And if they enjoyed it, then you know what? Hey, more power to them. I'm happy you enjoyed it. But personally, I didn't. But to go out there and say that this movie is a triumph, to say this movie is fantastic, it's beautifully made, that is just wrong. I'm sorry, this movie was not beautifully made, especially during the third act. The CGI, some scenes felt a little bit wonky. It felt like the CGI was incomplete. There are some moments in the movie, especially in the last fight, where you can barely even tell what the hell is even happening. And it's bad. It's awful. Oh Jesus. Uh, oh, again, I don't know what movie they saw, but this movie was not a triumph. Yeah, here's the thing. The 10 rings, that's what pissed me off the most, because the only time we got a little bit of explanation as to the history of these 10 rings, which again are technically the 10 bracelets, is the post credit scene. So just quickly, you know how people say stay for the end credit scene? Don't stay for the end credit scene. It's not worth it. It's not worth you going through all of those credits and just to get that little snippet. It's not worth it. Here's what you need to know. They say that the 10 rings, ever since they've been activated, are acting as a beacon, and now people are theorizing that it's calling for Galactus, basically. That's what people are theorizing. It's not proven, but that's basically all we get. The 10 rings are old, and what is it? And that they act as a beacon. That's it. That's literally all you get. Oh, and Hulk is now Bruce Banner again. And I'm pretty sure that was done mostly because they didn't want to spend money on CGI. And speaking of how much money was spent on this movie, we'll get into the box office after this. Before we get to one Simu Liu's comments about certain things, it annoys me that they literally made an Asian Wakanda. In the comics, that realm they went to, it was the home of the Asian gods, like Asgard for the Nordic ones, and that would have been better. Yeah, that would have been a lot better. But no, no, no. We got to try to. They got to try to basically rip off Black Panther. In my opinion, one of the most overrated movies I've ever seen. I mean, Black Panther was fine. It was an okay movie. It's not as good as people make it out to be. Prove this thing that people is magic. Yeah. Okay. It's, I don't know what's going on, but internet acting up a little bit for some reason. The connection's a little bit weak. Our connection is stable. I'm not on Wi-Fi. Why is it on Wi-Fi? I can't get my router. What the hell's going on with this? Okay, so I don't know what the hell's going on. It's again StreamYard. Jesus fucking Christ! You know what? I'm gonna learn to start streaming on other platforms because StreamYard. I don't know what the hell's going on with it. It is fucking broken. I mean, it's telling me that I'm on Wi-Fi even though I'm not. I'm using a router. I'm plugged straight into my router because that's how it's better for you to stream when you're directly plugged in as opposed to using Wi-Fi. I don't know why the hell's telling me it's on Wi-Fi. You know what? Let's just keep this going and hope for the best. So yeah, Shang Chi was not good. It absolutely was not good. Again, wait, hold on. Let me mute this. There we go. Nice. Okay, so yeah, Shang-Chi, not good. Absolutely not good. I don't know what the hell is going on, but the movie was not good. So that's Shang-Chi. And next thing I want to talk about is let's talk about the box office for a second, because I think again there's a lot of people who are heavily misinformed when it comes to the box office. So I will admit that Shang-Chi is doing a lot better than I thought it was. I thought that people were uh, people were going to see this movie, realize that it's not really all that good, and then word of mouth would start to spread, and less people are going to go see the movie. Which in a way that did happen, and again we'll get to all of that. But I will admit it did do a lot better than I initially thought it would. So there's that. And I will talk about, again, I'll go into everything when it comes to the box office and the narrative that's being built around it, and how you have all of these outlets going out there and saying that, Shang-Chi is a triumph. Shang-Chi is doing so much better at the box office, even though in a lot of ways it's actually doing even worse than Black Widow. And remember, when Black Widow came out and we got the box office numbers, a lot of those same outlets went out and said, Black Widow is not doing good. Black Widow could be considered a box office failure. And yet you have a movie that's not doing as well as Black Widow did, at least in certain ways. And yet they're going out there and saying that this is a box office success, which again, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. That to me is just an absolute lie. So let's talk about the box office and get into it. So let's talk about how it did opening weekend. So opening weekend it did 75 million dollars. Now, if you remember, a lot of the outlets, which again we'll get to all of that. We'll go into more detail with that. A lot of the media outlets went out there and predicted that Shang-Chi was only going to make somewhere between 45 to $50 million opening weekend. Now, personally, I thought that maybe it would make a little bit less because, and I talked about, I think I remember making a video where I talked about this, where it was after the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer came out, and I talked about how, to me, it seems a little bit weird because why would they put out this trailer at that moment when they have another movie that's just about to come out in a couple of days? It seems to me it's weird that they're already promoting a movie that isn't even kind of going to come out for like a few months. And then, of course, they put out the Eternals trailer just like a week earlier from the a week before the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer was posted on YouTube. And to me, it just seems weird that they're already promoting other movies and not so much promoting Shang-Chi. It told me that maybe Marvel themselves don't really believe in Shang-Chi as much as they are trying to pretend that they are. So personally, I thought that maybe the movie was going to do a lot less because it is an unknown character and it is sort of post COVID, which I personally don't think is really a factor because I think we've seen some articles saying that stadiums and concerts are being sold out. They're selling tickets at record numbers, which goes to show you that people are now willing to actually go back to normal. Like they're sick and tired of all this shit. They're sick and tired of the mask, which we're not going to get into all of that. Which, oh, by the way, YouTube, not a doctor. Apparently, you need to say that now for some reason. But it just goes to show you that people are wanting to go back to normal. So I don't think the whole post COVID argument really holds up because it never affected anything else. And yet, for some reason, they're trying to say it affects the Shang-Chi box office for some reason, which I completely disregard. I don't think that's a factor in this at all. I think it's mostly because a lot of people are just sick and tired of Marvel. They're sick and tired of being fed the exact same movie over and over again, where it's the same formula, and they're tired of it. I think that's a factor into why Shang-Chi isn't really doing all that well. So opening weekend, it makes $75 million more than what is projected, and again, that plays into something that we're going to talk about later on. But if you look at the numbers for the second weekend, it drops by 54%, which is normal for movies to drop in how much it makes in the second weekend. That's the case for most Marvel movies. Some worse than others, but that just goes to show you. If you look at the next one, drops by 38%, and then the week after that, which was the weekend just a little bit before, it drops by 39%. So you can see the interest is starting to drop off for Shang-Chi. But one thing that you'll notice is that every single week for 4 weeks, it's been at the number one spot. Now there is a big reason for that. So a lot of people are looking at this, the fact that Shang-Chi is making the fact that week after week after week it was at number one, and a lot of people are saying, well, see, that just goes to prove to you that people love this movie. No, the reason why that movie is always at number one is because your movie is opening to literally no competition. And I think that's something that a lot of people are not taking into account is that there's literally no other movie out there that can compete with Shang-Chi. All other movies are just they're not really as interesting as, let's say, a Marvel movie, or they don't offer as much competition as, let's say, a Marvel movie. Now if they opened up against a movie from, let's say, DC, or a movie from, let's say, Paramount, or, well, maybe not Paramount, but Universal, or any movie from that's Warner Brothers that isn't DC, I feel like if it opened against a movie from one of those studios and it still held the number one spot, then okay, yeah, maybe you have something. But the fact that it literally opened to no competition, I don't think anyone's surprised that it maintained the number one spot for 4 weeks in a row. And also keep in mind, it's been out for 4 weeks. This movie is only going to be in theaters for 45 days. Remember that. It's only going to be in theaters for 45 days. And that's going to be important to something we're going to talk about in a second. So, as you can see, domestically, it made $196 million. Internationally, it made $166 million. So, worldwide, altogether, it made $363 million. Now, I can't remember correctly, but a lot of people are saying that Shang-Chi only needs to make like a few more $1 million in order for it to break even, which we'll get into the difference between breaking even and a movie being considered profitable in a second. But remember, in order for Shang-Chi to break even, I think it needs to make at least 370 to $400 million in order to consider to be broken even. Now, if anyone wants to know why, here's why. First of all, let's talk about what breaking even means. Now, just to summarize, I'm not going to go into the exact details of it, but breaking even basically means that the studio or the person who invested the amount of money into the project makes that exact amount of money back. So let's say Shang-Chi, I think if I remember correctly, the budget of this movie was somewhere around 150 to $200 million. And that's just for the production budget. We need to take into account the marketing budget, the distribution budget, and then of course there's a lot of other, and there's the interest, because remember, this movie was initially supposed to be released a long time ago, but it got delayed, obviously, because of, so on and so forth, if I remember correctly. So there's interest there. So we got to take all of that into consideration. So you could say this movie was, let's say, again, let's be generous and say that initially the amount of money total that was invested into this project was somewhere around $400 million. In order for the movie to break even, it would need to make $400 million back. Now, for that to happen, Shang-Chi would need to make worldwide at least $500 million, 450 to $500 million in the worldwide box office. And that's because normally studios keep 60% of the box office numbers that it makes. So 60% of 400 to $500 million would be in the 400 to $450 million range. So that would be when you could say that Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings did indeed break even. However, like I said, there's a big difference between breaking even and actually being considered profitable, or what the studio would consider a movie to be profitable. First of all, like I said, in order to break even, in order to break even, it would need to make somewhere around 450 to $500 million. I don't see that happening because, like I said, it's just now made a little over $360 million, and this movie's already been out in theaters for 4 weeks. Remember, this movie has 45 days in the theaters. That time is coming to a close, and as you can see from these numbers, the interest is dropping off severely. It is dropping off a lot from when the movie was initially released. You can just see the numbers. All you have to do is look at the numbers, and it's just steadily dropping off a cliff. People are losing interest in this movie. There is no way this movie is actually going to make that money in order to make that in order to make back the money that it made. I don't see it happening. Now, if it does happen, if it does make the amount of money it needs to break even, then hey, I'll happily admit that I was wrong. But again, like I said, there's a big difference between breaking even and actually making a profit. Now, in order for a movie to be considered profitable, it needs to make three times its initial budget. That's right, three times. This movie would need to make somewhere from 600 to $800 million in order to be considered profitable. There is no way this movie is going to make that amount of money, and it needs to make it in the box office. It's not going to make that kind of money. No, I'm sorry. I can safely say it's not going to make 600 to $800 million. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. So yeah, a lot of the people who are going out there who are saying, "Oh, this movie made a profit. Oh, this movie is successful." No, it's not. It's not successful. This movie made I think it's like the third worst performing movie out of all of the Marvel movies. This movie did not make its money back. Well, again, if you consider making its money back to be breaking even, which it could, but for this movie to be considered profitable, it's not. I'm sorry. In that regard, it is a failure. Just like how Black Widow was a failure. Black Widow uh, was a failure when it comes to being profitable. It's just that's just the way it is. But of course, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to go out there and say, "No, this movie was successful. No, this movie made a profit." No, it didn't. It did not. Maybe it could break even, but that doesn't mean it made a profit. All it means is that the studio who invested the amount of money that they did into this project made their money back, but but they still didn't make a profit on this movie. They just didn't. In regards, it is indeed a failure. I'm sorry, but it out there and saying this article is in reference to all of those same articles who go out there and say Shang-Chi is doing great. It's number one at the box office for like 4 weeks in a row. Yeah, but like I said, your movie opened to literally no competition. So why are you celebrating? That would be like, imagine if an adult said that I am the best football player. except they're playing against a bunch of high schoolers. Well, not even that. They're playing against a bunch of middle schoolers. So it's like, okay, yeah, but look at your competition. Of course, you're going to come out. In fact, it would look pretty sad if you, if you were still worse than them. I mean, come on. So it's like, yeah. I don't think anyone is surprised by the narrative that's being pushed around this movie because they desperately want this movie to be a success, and it's not a success. It's not even close. I'm sorry. This movie is not a success. Okay, so we've talked about the box office. Let's go ahead and talk about Simu Liu. Not necessarily this. We'll talk about this in a second because this is very very interesting. I want to talk about Simu Liu and how he responded. If you remember, how he responded to certain people who made because certain people made videos. I wasn't one of them because again I was away. Certain people made videos talking about the projection for Shang-Chi. Well, actually, wait, I think I did talk about the projections for this movie, but I didn't actually make a video about it. I just mentioned it in a I mentioned it in a live stream where we talked about how it seems like the interest for this movie just isn't there, so there's a chance that this movie is going to flop. And a lot of other people made videos about how you had mainstream articles going out there and basically putting out their projection for this movie. How, like I said, they said it was going to make somewhere from 45 to $50 million, and then they just talked about it and they talked about how that means it could be a box office flop. And then the Shang-Chi actor decided to respond and say, "Well, I guess these people are wrong." Basically he took a shot at them. And for me personally, again, if someone wants to go out there and take a shot at me, I don't give a shit, dude. Go ahead. I really don't care. But what does it say when when an actor from a high profile Marvel movie decides to go out and basically take a shot against YouTubers? What does that say about him? I mean, and if I'm being honest, that does not make them look good. It doesn't really make them look good because, again, it just makes you look petty. It just makes you look petty. It makes you look pathetic. It makes you look weak. I mean, dude, you are a star in a Marvel movie. You are going to make more money than a lot of us are ever going to see in our lifetime. Why are you punching down? Like, I don't get it. I seriously just don't get why he decided to do that. And of course, you had a lot of people praising him. I know a certain someone decided to go out there and say, "Yo, this person's a savage, yo." He didn't actually say it like that, but it was basically in that vein, which I think is a very very big mistake on his part because I know that a lot of the subscribers to those channels happen to also subscribe to his channel. So, dude, if you go after them, mm, people who are in your sphere are not going to like it because if you go after them in a way you're going after your own audience. Just think about that. This is why I'll always try to I always don't like it when YouTubers go after other YouTubers because you never know, you could share subscribers, and if you go after that person you in a way go after their fans, and in a way you also go after your own fans, which is not something you want to do. Like, trust me, that's a mistake that's going to end up biting you in the ass. However, a lot of the same people who were praising him are also people who have basically decided, well, not all of them, but most of them have basically decided to turn on them because of some comments that Simu made a while back that we're going to be getting into in a second. Let's just go into it, shall we? So he made these comments. He made these comments Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. See. What did you do? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What are we going to do with you? Let's go ahead. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually look at this, shall we? And again, there's going to be some things in here that's a bit. It's a bit. So let's go ahead and there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and actually read through this. So he said this in a Reddit thread, and he did confirm that this is indeed his handle. So this is him. This is Simu Liu. Keep in mind. Oh boy, I'm gonna try to be careful here. I recently did a show in which I played a that and did a significant amount of research, clinical studies, mind you, not the method stuff. Then again, it is Hollywood, so who knows, on the disorder and how it's perceived in the media. In the end, the role completely changed the way I look at that and has made me much more sympathetic to anyone who is born with those urges. So sympathetic to hmm Yeah. Okay. From a biological standpoint, oh boy, 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 oh boy. With all the crap he says, we can all be sure he might not get a sequel. Yeah, he might not get a sequel, especially after this, because look at what he says here. From a biological standpoint, it's no different than being gay. So let me see if I get this straight. He just basically compared being gay to being that what we just saw on the screen, a small mutation in the genome that defines our sexual preferences. Depending on what area of the world you were born and what time, it may also have been a perfectly acceptable thing to act on those urges. Again, we're not going to get into that. Now we all know that taking advantage of minors is wrong. At least, God, I hope so. Disgusting and vile, even. No, no, just throw this out. It is disgusting and vile. It is. But with the exception of Germany, we are going about it completely the wrong way. It's like we having learned. It's like we having learned anything. Oh, I guess he meant to say haven't learned anything by studying homosexuality. We're talking about exploring the same cures to shit, the cures to that as we were about homosexuality 20 years ago, a la conversion therapy and whatnot. So this alone is already getting him into trouble. Because look, dude, you okay? I'm gonna try to be careful here because I know YouTube doesn't like you talking about this stuff. So, and I know this is a very, very touchy subject. While I do agree that those people do need help, they do. At the same time, I don't think it's right to compare being gay to being the you know what. I think that's a bit extreme. And I think that's what a lot of people are taking issue with when it comes to this comment. Because remember, Simulu does have a lot, I would imagine, a lot of fans who are LGBT. And imagine being compared to that. Imagine being compared to just liking someone who is of the same sex as you to someone who likes someone who is of a certain age. I mean, that's just no, dude, just no. No, that's just come on. That's a bit much. So let's continue. As part of my research, I discovered that these people have literally nowhere to turn, even non offending that. They cannot seek treatment in most parts of the world because therapists or psychiatrists would be legally required to report any individual they suspected would pose a threat to minors. I mean, again, if you believe that someone might be a threat, I think you at least you at least should give someone a warning, at the very least. Now, I again see again, this is a very, very, very touchy subject. This is a very touchy subject, which again, I don't know if I want to get into because, oof, because again, while I do believe they do need help, of course, at the same time, if you like, let's say you are in a position where you believe someone might be a threat, would you not think that you like it is your responsibility to warn the people who you think would be threatened by this individual. While I also think that therapists and doctors do need to keep confidentiality, like that's one of the reasons why a lot of people trust therapists is that they will keep a lot of the things that they talk about confidential, because they're not comfortable sharing it with other people. At the same time, considering that this is this, uh, exactly, if they seek help, they'll be shamed. I understand the point he's trying to make, but it's wording that is problematic to some people. I personally don't see a problem. Yeah, again, look, here's the thing. I do want to say this. A lot of people say that Simu should be canceled for this. He should be fired. Personally, I don't think he should be fired. Like, again, I don't support canceling someone because they made some comments. Unless they are very, very extreme comments. Again, it's only in the very, very rare case that they make a comment that is a bit extreme, in which case maybe the company should at least look into it, as opposed to, let's say, someone saying, maybe we should look into this, this whole COVID shit, and then all of a sudden they get fired just for that. Which why do you fire them for that? That's a bit extreme, as opposed to something to where, let's say, someone says, I believe that people of a certain race should be beaten on the streets and then shot in the head. Then yeah, I think that that person because I mean, dude, come on, that's a racially motivated comment. Just watch the cancel culture will eat themselves. They want to cancel the POC and the minority. Yeah, pretty much. These are the same people who say that, they advocate for diversity and all that stuff. And yet, the second someone who happens to fit that description makes a comment they don't like, all of a sudden they want that person gone. So, yeah, dude, fuck cancel culture. Cancel culture is fucking awful, and especially all the people who participate in it. Now, like I said, I don't want Simu Liu to get fired. I don't think he should. I just think I just don't think this was a right thing to say. That's it. Now, do I think again, he did make these comments a long time ago because, like you said, he made it in 2015. So maybe he has learned and grown over that time, which, God, I really hope so. So if he did, then okay, no problem. I'm not one of these people who say that because someone said something a long time ago, they need to get fired, they need to get canceled, they need to never work again. No, no, I'm not one of those people. I don't subscribe to that at all. Again, it's only in very, very extreme situations to where it's revealed that someone, let's say, committed a crime. Like, let's say they took a person's life, or they, this, then okay, yeah, understandable because they committed a crime. But just because someone made a comment that is a little bit controversial, and a comment that I don't really agree with most of it, I don't think that they deserve to be punished for that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is an old comment. Like, you can see the date right here. It was put out in 2015. Like, this is old. Like, this is over 6 years ago. Why is this a debate? Because unfortunately, that's the world we're living in. That's the world we're living in. They always find old comments. They always find old comments that you made. They bring it back, and they think, "Oh, look at what this person said," not thinking that, okay, maybe this person learned and grew over the years that they made this comment to where they thought, okay, yeah, maybe this was a stupid comment to make. So no, I don't think that Simu Liu should be canceled or fired, or not be in the or not be in a Shang-Chi sequel because of this alone. Now, one thing that if they do decide to get rid of him because Marvel saw that that the way he's been acting has caused people to basically has caused their own customers to leave and not give us any money, because if that's the thing, then that's a company noticing that this person is costing the company money, in which case then that person should be removed, because remember, a company's number one priority is to make money. And if a certain someone is causing them to lose money, then that in that from that reasoning, I can understand him being fired. If his comments and his actions are causing people to not go see their movies or not watch their TV shows, in a way basically causing them to lose money, then okay, yeah, I would kind of understand that. But not if you're telling me that you're firing him because he made a comment like this from over 6 years ago, then no, I don't support that at all, because again, it's an old comment. He could have learned and grew over the year. Look at who he is now. If he is the same person as he was 6 years ago when he made this comment, then okay, maybe look into it. But no, this is an old comment. Just it's an old comment. Leave it alone. I don't think it. I don't think he should get in trouble for this at all. Again, although some people being mad, I can understand based on some of the things he said. But again, keep in mind it is an old comment. Just keep that in mind. What sad fucks dig through people's posts past just to search for something to use to cancel them? Do you know how pathetic you have to be to do it? Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, it happened a long time ago. Forget about it. Move on. These people don't believe that people can change with time. Being ironic, seeing what they always preach. Yeah, that's true. Seeing what he says about China, Disney will most likely fire him to appease. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They might do it. Although I do think that there is a chance that the days of Disney pandering to China is over. There is a chance they might, but again, if Disney is obsessed with the pandering to China, and you can kind of understand why, because a lot of their movies from the past have made a ton of money in China, so you can understand them wanting to appease to that country the most. Although I do think they're going about it the wrong way, and I personally don't think they should appease to China since it is a communist country. I mean, come on, Disney. Let's continue. On message boards and social media, I see the same defense time and time again. What if it was your daughter? Well, I take their point, but I would like to ask, what if it was your child who came to you and confessed to being a that? The study I read suggests that as many as 1% of the population may have some degree of that tendencies. If this is true, I certainly hope that the rest of the world follows. Okay, wow. Germany's lead. TLDR, actor who played a that for a TV show, did research, discovered being a that, not so different. Okay, yeah, I don't really agree with that. Everyone deserves sympathy, not black and white. So my first goal was sympathetic post towards that. Amazing, really, dude, come on. Thanks for the goal. Honestly, it goes to show that Red is capable of tremendous compassion. To everyone who came forward with the Red, I admire your courage and I wish you the best. I'm in no position to provide any guidance or advice of any sort, but I encourage you to read this article. I stumbled upon while doing research for my role. Wait, you're wait, how can you be okay? Yeah, again, I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole thing. Every company panders to China in one way or another, even up to giants like Apple. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So yeah, this is the I wanted to talk about this real quick and how, again, I don't think that he should be fired because of this, because like I said, it is an old comment. Hopefully he learned and grew from then, and maybe he realized that maybe this is kind of this is kind of, you know what, this is the one time I will use this word. It is a little problematic. I've grown to not really like this word because a lot of those sad fucks on Twitter like to just throw that word problematic around, uh because they well, they're sad. I mean, it's just, come on. They can't afford to lose their support. Why do you think most countries just turn a blind eye to their BS? Remember, China's still holding over 3 million Muslims. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Those camps are still there. And yet, interestingly enough, Disney decided to turn a blind eye to it, and now you have a lot of companies, or a lot of people, I guess you could say, supporting Disney. Although it's weird, in a way, I did kind of support them by actually seeing this goddamn movie. So I guess I'm not really one to talk. So yeah, that is the whole thing when it comes to Shang-Chi that I wanted to talk about. So what else did I want to talk about real quick? Here we go. This is interesting. Let me just talk about this real quick, since I won't waste too much time on this, or I'll try not to waste too much time on this. Let me just set it up real quick. Okay. All right, let me share my screen. So I don't I don't talk about comics all that often on my channel. I know I don't, but I do feel like this is important. So Chuck Dixon, who, if you don't know, is pretty well known for writing Batman, he just made a statement that I think is absolutely 100% correct. DC and Marvel seem to be in some sort of a suicide pact with themselves to destroy American comics. Now, if you remember, I think I did make a video on this channel where I talked about how, if you look at the top 20, I think it was Oricon, the list of top 20 top selling graphic novels, it was all manga. It was all manga. And there's a reason for that. Because manga is actually interested in telling people, hey, we have some interesting stories that you might be interested in. Maybe you could come check them out. And there are. There's plenty of manga out there where you have mangas about that are basically westerns. You have manga that's basically sports. You have manga that's basically fantasy. You have manga that falls into action. You have manga that falls into sci-fi. You have manga that falls into whatever other genre you could think of. And there's plenty of hell. There's even a manga that's just about swimming. Think about that. A manga that is all about swimming. I mean, it's insane. And they somehow make it interesting. Like, if you read some of it, it actually makes you want to go out and swim. I mean, it's insane. Hell, there's manga about boxing. Like, Hajime no Ippo is one of my favorite mangas out there. And every time I read it, it does make me kind of want to get into boxing. I don't because I know I'm going to suck. But it does make you want to basically look more into whatever it is that they are, whatever it is that's sort of used to, tell the story. American comics don't do that. American comics, they have basically decided to give up on just telling good stories. They have decided to basically use these characters, use um, use these worlds that were built by these fantastic writers throughout the years, and just use it to preach, because at the end of the day that's all they care about, because the comic book industry has been taken over, just like Hollywood, and just like how I'm suspecting the video game industry, and we'll get into that in a second. It's been taken over by people who aren't interested in just telling good stories anymore. They don't care about storytelling, and most importantly, excuse me, they don't care about the fans. They don't care about fans. They also don't care about the characters, these characters that have been important to us for years. And will just use them as a way to push whatever message that they want, left or right, doesn't matter. It completely goes against what the character would do. And it's sad to see, honestly, because DC and Marvel used to be juggernauts. They used to be juggernauts in the industry, and now they're nothing. I mean, obviously, Superman and Batman are still very well known, but the comics where they exist now, they don't people don't know them mostly from the movies. A lot of the hardcore fans know them from the comics, and they're not buying them anymore. Like, seriously, you look at the sales for Superman and Batman comics, their solo titles, and they are pathetic. They are absolutely pathetic. Like, you cannot believe that Superman is barely selling. You can barely believe that Batman is barely selling. And it's like this because the people who have, like I said, who have taken over, they don't care about these characters. They never have, they never will. And now they're out there. You're seeing someone like Kelly Sue DeConnick basically going out there and saying, yeah, the numbers are not good for uh, for comics. They are not good. And she even, I remember her saying this. I forgot to pull out the video. That's something. Sorry about that. But basically, she's doing an interview, and I think it's an old interview where she says that the numbers that you're seeing for comics, there used to be a time where if you had those numbers, your line would immediately get canceled because it's not enough. It's not worth to keep investing money into this if it's not selling. And they are, and she is 100% correct, even though she's part of the reason why those numbers are where they are at the moment. Remember, she's the one who sort of, yeah, I think it was her. She's the one who basically took Carol Danvers, someone who used to be an okay character, and turned her into one of the most insufferable characters that you can think of. And it's all because she wanted to push whatever message she wanted to push in her story, and using this character to do so. And now you're seeing this thing where you have multiple writers who who used to work on these titles coming out and basically talking about how it's it basically sucks that Marvel and DC are where they are right now. And now, and you also have this thing where they're going out there. Remember, I did a video where I talked about, and well, it was me and a bunch of other people where we talked about how they just turned Tim Drake gay. Well, technically, he's bisexual, even though we know that in this day and age, either in comics or Hollywood, when you say someone's bisexual, they just mean gay. They just mean gay. They just want, they say that they want bisexual representation, and yet they never have them actually act bisexual. We never see them be interested in someone who is of the opposite sex. It's always this. It's always a person who is of the same sex that they are. So but them saying that, oh no, he's bisexual. No, 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 he's not. No, he's not. Not in your eyes. In your eyes, he's gay. Just admit it. Don't pull this bisexual bullshit with me, okay? Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, and again, these are the people who are working on comics, and it's not hard to see why comics are where they are right now, where it's basically dead. Comic books are a dead industry, except for manga. Manga is selling incredibly well. Demon Slayer is selling insane amount of money. It's selling an insane amount of volumes. One Piece is selling insanely well, and it's just I think even the Boruto manga is kind of doing well when it comes to sales. I think, well, actually no, I think last time I checked the numbers aren't really doing all that well. But still, people would much rather read that than anything from Marvel and DC at the moment. It's insane. And again, this, we shouldn't even be here, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. I do think that maybe Marvel and DC will come back into prominence one day, but only when they decide to clean house. Only when they decide to say, okay, look, all of you out there, all of you here who are responsible for us being where we are right now, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out, every single one of you. We're going to bring in people who can actually tell good stories and people who will actually keep the characters as they are and not change it so we could do what we want to do. Fucking insane. Fucking insane. All right, next thing. So I talked about how it's seeping a little bit into the video game industry, which I think you could say segues a little bit into the next thing though that I want to talk about. So this happened. Wait, let me read this. The comic book industry took nearly 95 years to build tall and strong with care, blood, sweat, tears, and only took 4 years for it to all to crumble at the hand of the woke goblins. Yep, yeah. Again, I'm right there with you. A lot of people are sick and tired of it. I think people have been sick and tired of it for years. They've been sick and tired of it for years. They're only just now thinking that, okay, maybe it's we got to talk about this now, because otherwise we're gonna start losing money. And yeah, we're honestly kind of tired of that. So yeah, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and talk about the next thing that I want to talk about. Let us just set it up real quick. Okay, here we go. This. Hold on, just 1 second. Give- Okay, let's talk about gaming for a second. Let's move into gaming. Okay, here we go. Again, why is it saying it's on? I'm not on Wi-Fi for fuck's sake. So I talked about how I was gone, and some things happened while I was gone. And one of those things happened was the PlayStation Showcase. Now, normally you would see me live stream on this channel about the PlayStation Showcase. Not always, but a lot of the times I do. And interesting because the last time I did it, I think I live streamed E3, and that was so goddamn boring that it nearly turned me off of just streaming in general. But we had the PlayStation Showcase of 2021, and we got some reveals. We got some big reveals. We saw the reveal of Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. We know that Venom, I think a lot of us predicted that Venom was going to be in the game. I think we also know that Craven the Hunter is going to be in Spider-Man 2. We know about Insomniac making another game. Now, this is one that I definitely wasn't expecting, but they are making a game with Wolverine. I mean, come on. Now, either it's going to be a Wolverine game. No, yeah, I think it is going to be a Wolverine. I think it's called Wolverine, which, boy, I can't fucking wait. If that game is as good as Spider Man was, then I might buy that game day one. I usually don't buy games day one, but I think that might be one where I think that might be one where I might actually buy it day one. So, and oh yeah, Kotor. We'll get into Kotor in a second. So let's talk about God of War Ragnarok. Now, this is a game that I have been looking forward to for years, and I think a lot of us have been looking forward to it. So okay, let's talk about it. So we got the trailer. Now I'm not going to play it because I think I might accidentally get in trouble for it. So let's talk about it. So overall, I thought the trailer did look good. Now, as you can see, the axe is back to how it was at the beginning. To to how it to how it did at the beginning of the game. You can see Kratos is sort of. I think he's sharpening some arrows because you can see some of the right there on the ground. And by the way, the detail looks good. You can see Atreus right there, whom we now know as Loki. Sorry, let me just this one quick. So you can see he's wearing some yellow colors, which a lot of people have said is the color of his race, his mother's race, the giants, the Jotuns, and we've got some new traversal mechanics, the wolves, which looks fantastic. We see Freya, which I think they did confirm that Freya and Thor are going to be the antagonists of this game. This is very, very interesting. Now, I can't tell if she split the shield or if he closed it specifically on her sword to block it and then, pushed it back. So we can see Mia right there turning the page. And here it is, the traversal cut, which makes sense because, the lake is frozen. So there you go, and you can see some traversal, and we see Atreus basically again. I wish I could play the trailer, but I feel like I might get dinged for a copyright. Now this is very interesting. We finally get to see Svartalheim. Now Svartalheim, if you remember, was blocked. Now I don't know if that was done for story reasons or if it was done because of budget. Because I mean, they already made, which to me, I always thought it was weird. Why would they block off Svartalheim and yet let you go to Muspelheim? Because I mean, eh, I mean, Muspelheim didn't really offer much, and same thing with what was it? Same thing with what was it? Oh God, what was the place called? What was it? Helheim? No, it wasn't Helheim. Vanaheim, I think it was called. No, it wasn't Vanaheim. That was also blocked. What was the place with the mist? The mist that kills you slowly. I keep forgetting. Uh, what? What was it called? Fuck. Why am I forgetting? Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can just look it up real quick. Oh, no, where did I go here? Yeah, here we go. What was it called? Niflheim. That's what it was called. Yeah, yeah. Nifl. The place is called. Oh no, no. It wasn't Helheim. It was the place with the mist, Niflheim. Where you go. There's Tyr's trials, where he hid those chests that you could open, and it's also where you fought one of the Valkyries. Yeah. It was called Niflheim. Yeah, I don't understand why you were allowed to go to Muspelheim and Niflheim, and yet you weren't allowed to go to well, Asgard. I can kind of understand because that's where that's where Odin is, and you don't want to go there, so that's understandable. So, but Vanheim, okay, understandable. They did give an in-story explanation as to why you can't go there, but Svartalheim being blocked, I don't know. I don't get it. Why were you, Svartalheim, uh, but not, not Svartalheim, but you could go to what was it? You could go to Helheim and Muspelheim and Niflheim, but not Svartalheim. I don't know. That just always seemed a little bit weird to me. But again, uh, it is. I think it was mostly done because of budget, and they gave some in-story reasons as to why you can't go. But I think they did confirm, if I remember correctly, they did confirm that you can go to all of the all nine realms in this game. At least I think. Uh, yeah, this is God of War. This is God of War. Yeah, it is. Oh boy, we'll get into that. We'll get it. Don't worry. Fenrir, we will definitely talk about that for a second. Have you seen the video in which talks about the release? Yeah, I did. I did talk about it. Or no, I've seen it. Excuse me. I did see it. I think that people are honestly getting mad over nothing. Personally, the thing that I'm pissed off about is why is this movie even being made in the first place? I mean, what can you really? What's the story even going to be? I just Super Mario doesn't even have really all that much of a plot. It's just you go get to the castle, fight Bowser, save the princess. Like I don't really see how that lends itself well to a narrative. And all the people who are mad about Chris Pratt, just those people need to go get a life. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so we finally get to see Svartalheim. We get. It seems like we are gonna probably spend a lot of time there. You can see. We get to see Brock and Sindri again. Love those characters. Now, this character is very, very interesting. I think this was his name was revealed to be Durin, if I remember correctly, or Dulin. I think it's pronounced Durin. I think, and a lot of people have theorized that maybe this is probably Odin because he has the thing over the eye. Even though I think it's actually supposed to be on the left eye, not the right eye. Which, personally, I don't really see that to be the case. Which, but we'll see. But yeah, we get to see some combat, which looks good. This to me is very. I think I can play this. Maybe without the audio, I'll be fine. This I thought was very very cool, but it looks like there's a chance you might actually be able to jump, which I'm hoping. We'll see. But yeah, it looks very very cool. One thing that I do want to mention real quick. Yeah, we heard Thor. We finally get to hear his voice actor, which I think it was a Richard Pendergast, if I remember correctly, who was on Sons of Anarchy, is going to be playing Thor, and we'll definitely talk about Thor in a second. There's definitely something else. So I think this is people have theorized that this may be Vanaheim, which is Freya's home, and this in particular this seems very very interesting to me. I cannot wait. We get to fight a centaur. You can see Atreus is. You can see his abilities have gotten a lot stronger, which is awesome. Which I guess makes sense as he is older, so he gets better. And we get to see this now. I want a lot of people to pay attention to this. So this looks like Tyr, but keep an eye out for this. The background is not the same as what we see here. So there is a chance. Now, either they're in a completely different location, or this isn't Tyr. That this might actually be a trick because maybe Odin somehow figured out they were going after Tyr, and he decided to basically take Tyr to somewhere else, hide him somewhere else, and then this is a trick meant to kill them. And of course, we get the reveal of Tyr, who turns out to be fucking giants. Which I immediately, if you played God of War, I immediately got a Hercules vibes uh, from from this in particular. And okay, so yeah, we get our first look at Angerboda, and we are definitely going to be talking about this in a second. But overall, the trailer did get me excited. I am definitely looking forward to this game. Now, there are some things about this game that did get revealed that I do want to talk about. So, actually, that's right there. So, let's talk about this for a second. Let's just get rid of this. First. Oh, for fuck's sake. Stupid ass. Again, always for something you never want. So, we got some information about the game, which Cory Barlog, who is the director of the first game, also confirmed that this will be the last game in the series. And I think this is mostly the series that was started with the previous with the previous game, the Norse mythology part of the end of the Norse era is basically what they're saying. According to the game's director, the Norse reboot of the God of War is now getting a third installment. Development time is cited as the primary reason for finishing the story in two games. So yeah, I did see the interview, and he talked about the reason why this is going to be the last game is mostly because they don't want to spend another 5 years making a third game, and they thought that maybe they could basically tell the story they wanted to tell in this one game, which I really hope is true, because there's a lot of things that they're going to need to cover in order to basically tell us everything. So again, we'll have to wait and see. So. Hmm, I don't know. Then if you think, wow, a third one at the same time, and we're talking like a span of close to 15 years of a single story, I just feel like it's too stretched out. I can kind of understand that. I do. I mean, I think a lot of people would have preferred it if it was a trilogy. Just like how the previous God of War had a trilogy, even though you had Ghost of Sparta and what was it? Oh God, what was it? The Chains of Olympus. You had Ghost of Sparta and Chains of Olympus, who are games that take place in that same story and did add to the trilogy, but mostly it was a trilogy. I think a lot of people would have just liked it if it was a trilogy. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so overall, I am excited for the game. I really am. Now, whether or not I buy day one, we'll have to wait and see. Because like I said, I usually don't buy games on day one. I usually like to wait for reviews to come out and see what people think, to see whether or not it's good or not. Again, but overall, still really excited. Love the trailer. So let's talk about the two things that are kind of controversial when it comes to the when it comes to this game. So let me just bring it up real quick. All right, so I've got it right here. Let me just share my screen real quick. Here we go. So we're going to talk about this for a second. So a lot of people were mad that Thor basically looks like this. Basically, he's a bit of a thick boy. Let's just say that. So now I don't like how this article is basically painting gamers in a bad light. I think, look, I don't think gamers are bad. Yes, there are some people who are technically awful because of the way they act, but I don't think it's good to paint all gamers as being bad. So people have criticized, asking, wait, why does Thor look like this? And I think that's mostly because they're so used to the MCU Thor, where he's like ripped. He's ripped, he's shredded. You can see his giant pecs, you can see his abs, and a lot of people are wondering, like, wait, why does he look like this? Now, people have made the argument that Thor. The thing is that in Norse mythology, Thor is never really given given like a proper description of what his body actually looks like, or at least what his body type is. People have guessed as to what he might look like because he's always talked about having this big appetite, how he likes to drink, and how he's incredibly strong. I think he's also touted as being the strongest out of all of the Norse gods, which is understandable. So technically, you could say this isn't also 100% accurate of Thor because, again, in Norse mythology, uh, it's never 100% told to us about how how Thor technically looks like. The only thing we do know for a fact is that he has red hair and his big beard, which they did get correctly, and of course his eyes. But when it comes to his body type, again, it's never properly stated how he actually looks. Let's see here. And in most of the depictions, Thor is not shown as fat. He is in a few, but they are literally the minority. The majority of art shows him as a gigantic human with muscles that can smash. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Now, again, I'm not 100% mad at this because, again, if you look at the actual Thor is described as red-haired with a beard, who giant humans with muscles, giants humans with muscles that can smash mountains. Yeah, he is depicted as a big guy, but if I remember correctly, and again, let me make it clear, I'm not all that familiar with Norse mythology. I was more familiar with Greek mythology, which is why when I played the games that was set in the Greek era, I was more able to discern which was real, which isn't. And I'm not all that familiar with Norse mythology, so forgive me for that. But if I, but from what little I know, I don't remember there ever being a passage that specifically says how he looks in terms of his body type. Again, maybe I'm wrong there, or maybe there was and I just missed it. But the only thing I do know for a fact is that he is depicted with red hair and a giant beard, so they did get that correctly. And we have had some people say that, uh, this is actually pretty accurate. So let's read this article. So God of War's Thor is accurate to the source material. Again, I don't think you should say this because remember, the source material never accurately depicts what Thor actually looks like or what his body type is. Just keep that in mind. Which should be unsurprising when you consider that MCU Thor comes from an alien planet with access to like spaceships and shit. Good mythology, very Asgard, and many hammers. If you look back at the Poetic Edda and Prose Edda, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which are the two primary sources for the Norse mythology we know and love. Well, I love at least. You'll notice that Thor was a bit of a prick, actually. Eh, I've always thought that the first game grappled with this extremely well. We get explicit details about Thor wiping out the Jotun, and it's pretty obvious that his favorite hobby involves drinking too much and saying, "Here, lads, let's do a genocide." He is not the heroic paladin of the Avengers. He's a Norse deity, which means he is a total bastard. What's more, Norse mythology Thor is canonically pretty heavy. While he drinks half the ocean in the Loker cycle, as in literally half of it, there's one particularly well-known story called the I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. A poem from the legendary Snorri. Uh, s- s- it's there. You can see it. Iconic poetic Edda. Here, Thor loses Mjolnir after it is stolen by a giant named Thrym, who will only return the hammer in exchange for Freya's hand in marriage. Given that Freya herself is completely averse to the idea of marrying this giant, mostly because she's annoyed at Loki, who pisses everyone off approximately once a minute. Thor, dressed up as her and attends the ceremony in her place. On top of eating an entire cow to himself, he drains several casks of ale, causing Thrym to be immensely confused. This is supposed to be Freya, the elegant Vanir goddess of love, beauty, and that. Eventually, Thor, under the pretense of being Freya's word and blah blah, you can see. So they basically say that because of how much he drinks and because of how much he eats, then it would make sense for him to be a heavyset guy. Again, not necessarily, because believe it or not, there are people in this world who can eat a ton of food and not really look all that big because those people are born with an insanely high metabolism. So they can eat more than regular people who, and believe it, and again, these people are not bodybuilders. They don't spend like 8 hours in a gym lifting lifting and running cardio and building up their muscles, and because of that they need to eat a ton of food in order to get the energy that they need to spend all those hours at the gym. There are normal people who have a regular build, they just have a really high metabolism, and because of that they can eat more than regular people, and they're not these really giant heavy set people. I just so this argument of saying, well, because Thor is known for eating a ton of food and drinking a lot of alcohol, basically, that automatically means he is a heavy set dude. But again, I don't understand why a lot of people even have this mindset in the first place. Thor was known as a big eater, true, but it's never said that he gets fat because he had very high metabolism. That's why he eats a lot and drank after a huge battle or raid. Yes, again, that's true. So I don't understand why a lot of people have this mindset. Well, yes, it is true. There are strong men in in our world who do have these really big bodies, and they do have these body types, but again, they're different because they hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had something to take care of. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, this whole thing. So yeah, again, never understood why people have this. Again, yeah. Sorry about the no sound. Just something needed to take care of for a second. I'm back now. So I had to mute the mic. So yeah, I again the argument that because he's known for eating and drinking a lot, that automatically means he's a heavyset dude. Not necessarily. That's a misconception, and yet people are using it as an excuse to defend this. And they're saying that it's accurate to the source material when again the source material never specifically states what Thor looks like in terms of his body type. So there you go. Now, when it comes to being accurate to the source material, I do find it very, very interesting that the people who are defending this and their defense is it's accurate to the source material are the same people who are criticizing people who are the same people who they are attacking the people who criticize the choice that was made that we're about to talk about for this game. Let me just bring it up real quick. Where's no, it's not here. Here we go. Let's talk about this for a second. So remember, the people who were defending Thor's look because it's accurate to the source material are the same people attacking anyone who is critical of this creative decision, saying that apparently anyone who is critical of this is apparently either an ist, which is what we've already heard, and now they're using the defense of, well, you see, it's an interpretation of Norse mythology. But then why did you defend Thor saying that it's accurate to the source material? And saying, okay, well, if they're offering their own interpretation of the source material of Norse mythology, which okay, that's fine, I don't have a problem with that. And it's just to me, it just seems a little bit weird, and it just goes to show you that maybe this is where their mindsets are. So what exactly is going on? So this is Angerboda, by the way, in case anyone who doesn't know, who in Norse mythology is described as being a redhead. So it probably shouldn't surprise you that this is another redhead that just got race swapped again. And of course, the developers are defending it. They're defending it, and again, their defense is, you see, we're offering our own interpretation of Norse mythology, which again is fine. It's fine if you want to offer your own interpretation of Norse mythology, which they did the same thing with Greek mythology. And yet, when it comes to Thor, you say you want it to be accurate to the source material. Do you see why a lot of people are confused? So for one, this is okay because it's an interpretation, but on the other hand, you want it to be, but for that character you want to be accurate, even though again there was nowhere in the source material that says the guy looks like that, and yet here, even though you do have a description of what the character looks like, you still decided to change the way they look because it's your own interpretation. Okay, you know what? At this point, I'm so tired of fighting it. I already know it's not gonna. We're not gonna get through to these people. Which, you know what? At this point, like I said, the God of War franchise has always had their own interpretation when it comes to mythology. So when this happened, I thought, okay, it's them doing what they've always done. But now they're going out there and they're saying shit like we want to be accurate to the source material for one, and an interpretation for another. This is why I'm starting to think that maybe this whole disease, as I think a lot of people are calling it now, which I think is correctly, is starting to infest even the video game industry. Because again, I don't think anything is safe from this. So let's go ahead and read this article. So Matt Sof was the narrative director for the upcoming God of War Ragnarok, has defended the game's decision to race swap the mythological Norse Jotun Angerboda by arguing that the series, quote, is our interpretation of mythology, not history. Again, interesting how they didn't extend to Thor, but okay. The race swapping of Angerboda was first seen in the game's premiere trailer released during the September 9th PlayStation 5 showcase, wherein Giantess mother of Fenrir appears as a young black girl voiced by Layla De Leon Hayes from The Equalizer. I think they mean the show, not the movies. In response to this revelation, a number of fans questioned the studio's decision to race swap Angerboda, as seen in a thread started by cosplayer Alana Smith and later joined by Sophos himself. After tweeting, "Guess who the fuck I'm cosplaying?" in response to Angerboda's debut, Smith was asked by another Twitter user why the Norse character was a, quote, black person, to which the cosplayer declared, "Because black people exist, get off my Twitter." Okay, okay. So they decided to go with that. So they say because black people exist. Not excuse me, throat's a little dry. Because black people exist. They do. Have you guys have PS5? Yeah, I do. Finally was able to find one. Here's the thing. Yes, black people do exist. And look, if she wants to cosplay as Angerboda, honey, go ahead. No one's gonna stop you. But this person, so she's responding to this saying, why a black person? So obviously they're talking about Angerboda. And again, if you know the source material, you know that Angerboda is originally a redhead. In Norse mythology, black people don't exist. Well, try telling them that. Unfortunately, they won't listen. They'll just call you or label you an ist because that's their defense for everything. And then there's what, yeah, not in Norse mythology. And then do you also have blue dwarves in Norse mythology? Was Loki the son of a Greek demigod? Please show me in Eddas where it says that all Jotun were lily white. Please let me save the time you can. I've read them. Oh boy. Okay. Turning his logic back. And then I trust you'll make some of the mythological characters white, even in the eventual Egyptian series of God of War games. Wouldn't want any double standards, right? You do know Jotun aren't real, right? They can be anyone or anything. Some are even giant serpents. But I get it. You're only okay with Jormungandr because the scales were white. Okay, okay. So this guy just decided to go for retard. This guy doesn't have a defense. He's just trying to throw. He's just trying to find some way to label this guy a racist. Just fuck this guy. And neither are Egyptian gods. Okay. I just want to talk about this for a second. The whole thing about gods or characters in mythology having certain races. I just want to talk about this for a second. Yes, I do think that characters in mythology do have a certain race, and here's why. One second. Okay, I'm back. So, We got to talk about this for a second. So let's look at Greek mythology and Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, African mythology, Japanese mythology, Chinese mythology, all of these mythological stories. Do I think that each of them have a certain race? Yes, and here's why. Just like how Japanese mythology, the characters in Japanese mythology are depicted as looking like Japanese people, here's why. Because when these mythologies were created, it was created in a time when people were not interacting with each other. These were created long, long, long time ago, before travel between countries was even possible, before they even knew other countries even existed. So all they knew were people who looked like them. They didn't know people with different skin colors existed at the time. So yes, when Norse mythology was created, the people who made them only knew people who had the same skin color as them. So yes, when they did create them, there you go. It makes sense why they would be made in their image. Just same thing with African mythology, same thing with Japanese mythology, same thing with Chinese mythology. Imagine this. Imagine if someone went to adapt, if someone took African mythology and then casted the people to play those characters as they only casted white people to play those characters. A lot of these same people who are going out there and saying, "Well, you know, mythology, these mythology characters aren't real, right? So we can make them whatever we want to make them." A lot of those same people are going to call them a bunch of racists, saying, "Well, how dare you cast white people to play black characters?" And you could respond with their argument saying, "Well, you know, these are mythological characters; they're not real, right? We can cast them as whatever we want. We want to cast them as. They can be whatever we want them to be." And again, you can always use their logic against them. You can always use their logic against them. They'll defend it when it's one way, but when it's done the other way, they'll start reeing and screaming. And that just goes to show you their double standard. They're double. They have it's a complete double standards. It's okay one way, but it's not okay the other. The thing about the Jotun is they can't just look like anything. They mostly take the shape of animals because humans were harder to do and hide from when it comes to gods because a few knew Uh, oh, a few knew the gods would find them. Yeah, it's. Oh, neither are Aesir gods, so was stated. I can only imagine how upset you'd have been if we made Thor black. How many people exist and not animals? Those morons have never read Norse myth books, have they? No, they haven't. No, they have. These people who say we want to say true the source material, I guarantee you they've never read a thing about Norse mythology. Mutant button got to work out this week. Oh, so he decided to turn a bitch and mute. Okay. I did. Yeah, I did. How many people existed and not? Yeah, it's yeah. To me, it's stupid. I mean, to me, again, I didn't really care all that much about it, if I'm being honest, because if you've known the God of War franchise, they've always sort of had their own interpretation when it comes to mythology. But then again, it's like these same people who say, okay, well, this is our own interpretation. Okay, that's fine. But at the same time, they will defend their choice for Thor, saying that it's accurate to the source material. It's like, no, 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 no. You can't be accurate to the source material and at the same time have your own interpretation. It's one or the other, buddy. It's one or the other. So there you go. I just wanted to talk about Astro's Playroom. Didn't play. I didn't even know it was there. Here's the thing. I was never into the whole Playroom thing, even with the PS4. Just not into it. Never really been all that into it. Okay, so next thing, I already talked about this. Let me just close this and end this. I don't know why I had this open. If they made Anansi into a white kid, they would lose their shit, despite the fact that it would make sense seeing that Anansi was a trickster who took the form of what people least expected him to be. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But they don't care. They don't care. Okay, it's again, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Okay, we can talk about this. All right, let's talk about this one for a second. Let me just share my screen real quick. This was beautiful. This was absolutely beautiful the second I saw this. So, just going to talk about this real quick and then we'll move on to KOTOR next. So, Star Wars editor Marshall Lucas decimates Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams over sequel trilogy. Yes, I saw this. I saw the quote initially being shared, and it was absolutely beautiful. Now, again, we've known this for years, but let's get to the actual quote in and of itself. Let me just, if I, I'm pretty sure they have it here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is I originally saw this with Jedi Scum on Twitter. So this is a passage from a book, a new book that I think got put out on September 24th, if I no, so not September 24th, September 14th, if I remember correctly. So this is a passage um, from the actual book. Now this was written by J.W. Rinsler, who passed away. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us due to cancer. And this is talking about Howard Kazanjian, who was the former president of Lucasfilm and the producer on Return of the Jedi. So let's read this. Let's read this, and we'll discuss this real quick. I like Kathleen. I always liked her, says Marsha Lucas. She was full of beans. She was really smart and really bright. Really wonderful woman. I debate that, but then again, I think she knows her more than I do. So who knows? Maybe it's true. And I liked her husband Frank. I liked them a lot. Now that she's running Lucasfilm and making movies, it seems to me that Kathy Kennedy and oh, sorry, I don't have the tab pulled up. Sorry about that. Forgot. I was sharing a tab, not the window. Okay, now you can see it. There you go. It seems to me that Kathy Kennedy and J.J. Abrams don't have a clue about Star Wars. And that is absolutely true. Again, we've all known this for years, but it's nice to know that someone who was so crucial in making Star Wars what it was, all the way back in 1977, when the first movie came out, has basically just reaffirmed what we've all known for years. Okay, this isn't just some nobody on Twitter. This is Marshall Lucas, who edited the original Star Wars film, who's basically coming out and saying all of us who have been criticizing Star Wars under Disney as being something that doesn't get Star Wars, that doesn't get these characters, we were right. They don't get it. And J.J. Abrams is writing these stories. When I saw that movie where they killed Han Solo, I was furious. I was furious when they killed Han Solo. Absolutely, positively, there was no rhyme or reason to it. Well, there was no good reason to it, I'll say that. I thought, you don't get the Jedi story. You don't get the magic of Star Wars. You're getting rid of Han Solo. And then at the end of this last one, The Last Jedi. So this was done, I think she said this before she saw The Rise of Skywalker. And The Last Jedi, they have Luke disintegrate. They killed Han Solo, they killed Luke Skywalker, and they don't have Princess Leia anymore. R.I.P. Carrie Fisher, and they're spitting out movies every year, and they think it's important to appeal to a woman's audience. Star Wars has always had a female audience, by the way. So now their main character is this female who's supposed to have Jedi powers, but we don't know how she got Jedi powers or who she is. It sucks. The storylines are terrible, just terrible, awful. You can quote me, J.J. Abrams and Kathy Kennedy. Talk to me. Yeah, at this point, they're just milking it for what it's worth, which isn't much at this point, unfortunately, because they've basically killed it. They basically killed it. Sorry about this. There we go. Oh, jeez. This is, excuse me. This is absolutely beautiful. This is beautiful because, like I said, this isn't anyone. This is Marshall Lucas, who was pivotal in making Star Wars what it is, who's basically confirming what we've all known for years, what we've all said for years, and a lot of these same people who for years who have been saying, no, no, you guys don't get Star Wars. You're just old fans who want to cling to how it was before. No, 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 we're not. We can see what's happening on screen. It really is that simple. These are not good movies. These are movies who do not get Star Wars. Yeah, it's well, there are some people who are going out there who are basically responding to this saying, "Oh my God, just let it go" and stuff like that. And let me remind you, these are the same people who are fans of Rey and Kylo Ren who are still upset at the Rise of Skywalker that they weren't together at the end. I don't know if you guys saw that. There was a video who someone was in the theater who recorded the ending of the movie, and you saw a bunch of these fucking weirdos all screaming and crying, going, "Oh my god, where's Ben? I want to be Ben. I want them together." And just blech, this is fucking disgusting. These are the same people who are telling other people, "You need to get over it." Fucking hell. Ah, boy. Okay. So there it is. That's Marshall Lucas just dropping a bomb on Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams, once again reaffirming what we've all known for years. These people do not get Star Wars. They have never got Star Wars. And the thing is, Star Wars isn't even that hard to get. It's simple. All you have to do is watch the movies, and you'll get what they're trying to tell you. All you gotta do is watch the movies. And that's why I'm adamant about the belief that no one who worked on the sequel trilogy actually watched Star Wars. I never understood the obsession with shipping. No rational person watches a show just to see who ends up with who. Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there. And look, personally, I've never had a problem with shipping. Like, if it's just done in like harmless fun, then okay, that's fine. But there are people who get absolutely obsessed, and I mean obsessed, when it comes to shipping. Like they will genuinely give themselves an aneurysm if their pair doesn't end up together. I just like, dude, it's a fictional show. It's a fictional reality. It's a fictional world. These are fictional people. They don't exist. Like, calm down. Just calm the fuck down. Any thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077? Still haven't played it yet. Not even going to go anywhere near that game until they do all of those patches or whatever the fuck. Until it's completely done, and even then, still don't know if I'll play it. If I'm being honest. Oh yeah, I remember this. It's those kind of people that create names like Ichiro Kyoichi. It's so cringe to me. Imagine stopping a show because your favorites didn't end up together. Life must suck for those type of people. Yeah. Again, I have nothing against anyone who wants to just do it in like just as harmless fun. But people who take it to the point where they'll start crying because it didn't happen, or and you know what, I'll extend this to people who cry if it did happen. It's like, dude, these are fictional characters. Calm down. Why are you crying? It's like, it's the same thing as what happened with the Owl House. Like, when people started posting their reactions to when the two characters, those two girls, got together, it's like, oh my god, I'm literally crying. Oh my god, it's like, dude, what the fuck is wrong? What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, this is a kids show. That's the thing. This is a kids show. And these two characters are two 14-year-old girls, and they're obsessed with their relationship. It's like, do you have any idea how weird that is? Yeah, when you start burning books or crying or sending death threats to authors, then I just can't take you seriously. Yeah, it's like, come on, come on. I think it's like, boy, I swear, some people, it's like, on one hand, you like when people are passionate about what they like, but at the same time, there are some people who just take it way, way too far, way too far, way, way too goddamn far. It's boy. Yeah, Loud House too. I remember that, but I remember Owl House, the Disney Channel one, where those two girls got together. You had people going out there saying, "Oh my god, I can't believe this happening!" Like, I'm literally crying, like, "Oh my god," and stuff, stuff like that. It's like, man, how sad must your life be? How sad must your life be to talk about, to be that obsessed with the relationship of two 14-year-old fictional girls. Hold on. You made videos talking about Cyberpunk 2077. So you were looking for. Yeah, I was at first when I saw the gameplay trailers, all the videos that they made talking about what you can expect from this game, and it's like, okay, but then it's like, yeah, I was looking forward to it, but then we had all of this stuff started to come out about how this game isn't what they originally promoted it to be, and how it was this buggy, crashing mess. And it's just all of it just completely turned me off. It was like, okay, and then no, before I say it, and then they put out this statement saying that we're working on this plan to add patches and updates in order to fix the game, and then those patches will add in the features that we initially said was going to be in the game at first. But it's like, why was this not in the game already? And then you find out that they purposefully that they I think it was someone inside who admitted that they still had at least 2 more years of development for this game, because the game was not ready, but because they wanted to put it out, because they didn't want to delay it anymore. And it's like, so you purposefully went out and put out a product that was not ready, and you had people pay for that game. You had people pay for the game, and you basically had them buy an incomplete game. They dropped $60 on an incomplete game, and it's like, dude, come on, come on. Why was YouTube censoring this comment? I don't get it. It was like YouTube was hiding this comment for some reason. Why? I don't see what's wrong with it. So this YouTube can be weird sometimes. It's fucking insane. Uh, have you seen Stargirl? No, I haven't. It's good, way better than anything in the Arrowverse except for Superman and Lois. The thing is, when it comes to the CW, I'm kind of tapped out, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm just so tired of the CW, even the Arrowverse. I think I'm kind of over it. I have heard that Superman and Lois is good, and I've seen a few episodes, and it is good. But even though that show is good, at least from what I've seen from it, at the same time, I also found myself just not going back to it. I always keep telling myself, I'll go back to it, I'll go back to it, but I never do. And I think it's just basically my mind telling me that I'm just not as into it as I was before. Like, I'm just tired of the CW. I'm just tired of all of it. I guess I'm at a point where I think I'm just gonna move on. So yeah, that's kind of where I am. So even if Stargirl is good, which I'm gonna have to take your word for it, because I personally, I'm kind of tapped out when it comes to the CW. So yeah, there's that. All right, let's talk about this for a second. Okay, next thing I want to talk about. We've only got like so there we go. So next thing I want to talk about, and again, I just want to go through this real quick. I'm not going to waste too much of your time on this. Yeah. Again, I think it was the previous seasons of their shows. It just kind of beat whatever care I had for it out of me. So even if Superman and Lois and Stargirl are good, I just think I'm done. I mean, for me, I think with the CW, I'm at the same place with the CW as I am with franchises like Star Wars and Marvel and DC, to where even if they're putting out good content, I'm just kind of done. Maybe I'll come back to it someday in the future, but as of now, I think I think I'm just gonna take a break from it for a while. Yeah, welcome, welcome. So yeah, I'm doing so. In case you don't know, I'm doing this live stream because for 3 weeks I was gone. I was on vacation, just decided to relax. And I could have brought my equipment with me, but I decided not to because I kind of wanted to give myself a break. But I'm back now and I'm doing this live stream to catch up on a lot of the things that I missed. And man, there was a lot of things. And, on one hand, I like the fact that I gave myself a break, but on the other hand, I kind of hate the fact that I was on a break because Man, there was a lot of videos that I could have made just from this alone. But hey, I'll talk about all of this on my on this live stream. Also, those videos were pre-recorded. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I pre-recorded those videos, and then I had them scheduled to come out during the month of September because YouTube doesn't really like it when you take breaks from posting videos. So I decided to record those videos in advance and have them come out in September. Throughout September, so you guys can, so you guys can still have something to watch from me, even though I couldn't make videos like right then and there. So yeah, I'm gonna try to catch up on a lot of the things that I missed while I was out. So okay, next thing I want to talk about, again, I'm just gonna go through this real quick. Yeah, just I don't think this really requires a lot of our attention. So I said I was going to talk about KOTOR. So a KOTOR remake was announced, and I think I remember I did make a video where I talked about how there were rumors about Aspire making a Knights of the Old Republic remake game. So those rumors were out there, and I think one person did kind of confirm. They had someone on the inside basically tell them that yeah, it is happening. So excuse me. So yeah, this is indeed happening. It was officially confirmed during the PlayStation Showcase, where they also confirmed Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, and of course God of War Ragnarok. So I fucking hate. So you're telling me, I'm sorry, I just gotta talk about this for a second. So you're telling me all those other PlayStation showcases where I live streamed, you had absolutely nothing happen, and the one that I decided to miss out on, you have all of these announcements happens. You know what? Fuck PlayStation. Just fuck them. Screw every single one of them. You had to put it on the one showcase that I couldn't live stream because I was on vacation. Screw you for that alone. So okay, the Koto remake is announced. And initially, a lot of people are excited because KOTOR is a beloved game. Personally, I'm not all that attached to it. I try to play the game on Steam. I have it on Steam, but every time I try, it's like the controls get buggy. Sometimes the game would just crash, and it's just I gave up on it. I said, all right, look, if this remake is happening, maybe I'll just go buy that one and I'll just play that. Now that's what I thought about it first, but then I saw this and it did kind of sour my expectations for the game a little bit, or well, not a little bit, a lot. So, former Mary Sue writer and social justice activist Sam Maggs is working on Knights of the Old Republic remake. Now, I don't think they clarify what it is she's actually doing. Uh, hmm. But yeah, Sam Maggs has made some comments that has gotten people to basically be a little bit apprehensive about this game. So let's bring out the actually oh god, yeah, actually you can see something here. Look at this. If you were an action figure, what would be your awesome accessory? Love your book. And she says a hammer for smashing the patriarchy. It would have bows. Of course. It's freezing, but hating the patriarchy keeps me warm. Today, my trainer said, "Wow, you're strong for not having lifted very long." And my head, thanks. It's from, oh, God. Jesus fucking Christ. Some of the worst professional experiences I've had involved white women with internalized misogyny doing the work of the patriarchy. I understand it, but it doesn't make it any less painful. Oh, and this is when it comes to Star Wars. Are bros really mad that Rey is a Mary Sue? Yeah, yeah, we are. If you want to hate Ray, at least be honest about it. You hate that she's a Mary Sue because she's a what? Wait, you hate that she's a Mary Sue because she's a woman. It's cool, just be real about it. Wait, hold on. Let's read that again. I'm confused. You hate that she's a Mary Sue because she's a woman. What does her being a woman have to have anything to do with her being a Mary Sue? You hate that she's a. I'm sorry. I'm so confused by this. You hate that she's a Mary Sue because she's a woman. Is she saying that it's because it's her being a woman? That's why we hate the fact that she's a Mary Sue, implying that we wouldn't have hated Ray if Ray was a guy. No, no, we would have still hated it because people don't like these Mary Sue, Gary Stu type characters. People just don't like them. They think they're boring. I don't get why it's like, again, there's a lot of things about Ray that people don't like, because for one thing they're depicting her as being this really strong, someone who's really strong in the Force, but they never explain how she got so good in this. It's like she's doing things to where, like, Luke needed training in order to be able to learn to do this, and so did Anakin, and yet Ray, who's never had a single ounce of training, can just do all these things. It's like, can you blame people for not liking it? And also, she's kind of a boring character. Let's be honest. Other than the Mary Sue, when it comes to the Mary Sue type character, mostly when it comes to her powers, people just think that she's a boring character. Very quick, how do you feel about Chris Pratt voicing Mario and other celebrities, either voicing either Mario characters in the upcoming Mario 2024? Here's the thing: I personally don't give a shit. I don't give a shit, and it's not just. I just don't care about the movie. I don't think it's really going to be all that good, and it's like celebrities being casted to voice these iconic characters. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much par for the course when it comes to Hollywood. It's like, look at Despicable Me, look at How to Train Your Dragon, look at all of these other animated projects from either DreamWorks or Illumination. They always cast famous people to play them in order to, because they can market them. Because Chris Pratt and I think it was Jack Black, if I remember correctly, and I don't think Anna Taylor Joy is all that well known, if I'm being honest, at least not as much as Chris Pratt and Jack Black. And I think it was, what was it, Keegan Michael Key, who's playing some other character. I can't remember. And who was it? Who else did they announce? What was it? Oh God, who else was it? There was someone else. Whatever. They're basically casting famous characters to in order to market them. That's the real reason I think they're only doing this. Now, if people are mad that, well, well-known voice actors are being pushed to the side, so celebrities can be celebrities can be used to promote the characters, then okay, fine, I get it, but it's like, dude, calm down. It's an animated movie. It's going to be here one day and gone tomorrow. Just relax. Snotty angry baby boy Ray hardly needed any training at all. Me strong in the force. Do you not remember that Anakin was auto-born strongest Jedi because of an arbitrary, intensely stupid high microorganism count? Or okay, this is fucking retarded. This is not how it works. Yes, Anakin was born with more potential. Oh yeah, Charlie Day is Luigi. Now I remember. Anakin was born with the most potential, but Anakin still needed training. He wasn't auto-born strongest Jedi. It's not like he was the strongest Jedi just straight out of the womb. That's not how it worked. Like, he was still just a regular kid. He still needed training. Yes, he had it easier than other Jedi's, but he still needed training. He needed training to learn how to use it. It's like, and this would happen in real life. Let's say someone is born who has incredible potential in, let's say, martial arts. They still need training, they still need to be taught. And it's like, how do people not get this? How do people have a hard time grasping this concept? No, you know what? No, you know what? I know the answer. I know the answer. It's because these people, the very concept of them actually working for something is foreign to them. They don't like actually working to get something. They just like things being handed to them. They like just having things handed to them. They don't like to actually work for anything. Fucking insane, man. So yeah, that's when it comes to Kotaro. Now, look, is there a chance the game could still be good? Of course, but considering who they hired, and again, I don't think they make it clear as to what her role actually is. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, last thing that I want to talk about, and then I have one more thing that I want to say, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna wrap it up. So let's talk about this for a second. Oh, actually, before I bring this up, there's one more thing that I need to bring up real quick. Just mute this for a second. So just one second, I'm trying to look for something. See, okay, I think I found it. Let me just see if this is it. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. So it took me a while. I had to find another article to help me with this. Okay, let me just share my screen real quick. All right. So here it is. Last thing I want to talk about. Okay, so this is it. So I want to talk about James Bond for a second. James Bond, the new 007 movie, No Time to Die, and how we just got this. We just got this bit of news. Got this bit of news that apparently, No Time to Die needs to make at least $900 million in the box office just to break even. Just to break even. That's right. So, No Time to Die. Now, this movie, if you remember correctly, this movie was supposed to come out in 2019. It was supposed to come out 3 years ago. Well, no, 2 years ago. Sorry. It needed to come out 2 years ago. And of course, it got delayed for multiple reasons. One of them was, of course, because everything was shut down, which is understandable. But the fact that it kept getting delayed, even in 2020, when things were starting, late 2020, when things were starting to open back up again, I don't understand why they didn't just immediately put out the movie. And the reason why that's important is because every movie has this thing called interest. And that interest builds up the longer you keep a movie from premiering in the theaters. And them delaying the movie for this long just built up that interest, and it builds up the initial, like I talked about with Shang Chi, the initial budget when it comes to this movie. And because of that, now James Bond, No Time to Die, this movie that's being promoted as basically a woke mess, needs to make around $900 million worldwide in the box office to break even. Now, why is that the case? Remember, studios only take 60% of the overall box office. 60%, that's all they take. So $900 million, 60% is somewhere, let's say, six to $700 million. That's how much they need to make. That's how much they need to make in order to, well, actually, no. Just check real quick. So they need to make somewhere around $540 million just to break even. Or no, $900 million to break even. So that means that they spent at least $540 million on this movie. Now again, now I'm not saying that, let's say, principal photography, pre-production, post-production didn't cost $540 million. Like I said, there's a lot that goes into making a movie. You could say this movie, the actual making of the movie cost somewhere around two to $300 million, and let's say you add another $100 million on it for marketing and all of that, and then of course there's the interest. So all of that adds up. So you could say that they need to make at least $540 million back. So that means $900 million worldwide to consider to a breaking even, to consider this movie to have successfully broken even. That's not going to happen. Personally, I think that that is just not going to happen. I don't know about you. Maybe you disagree, but I don't think that this money, excuse me, this movie is going to make that amount of money. I don't think this movie is going to make $900 million worldwide in the box office. I don't think this is going to happen. Personally, I think that this movie was delayed for way too long. I think that a lot of the interest for this movie has died down. A lot of the initial interest for this movie is gone. And I think the only ones who are really going to go see this movie are people who probably have nothing else to do during that weekend or just hardcore James Bond fans. Just diehard James Bond fans. Those are the only people that I think are actually going to go see this movie. I don't think anyone else really has any interest in this movie. And the not to mention all of the marketing for this movie is not really doing it any favors. Uh, are you going to see the Last of Us TV show? No, no, I'm not going to watch it. I don't want anything to do with it. So let's talk a little bit about the marketing for this movie. Just for a second. There we go. So look at this, for example. No Time to Die director Cary Fukunaga admits the film is woke while still attempting to deny it. So this is in regards to some comments that he made about Bond apparently being a rapist, which I think is absolute BS. And it just goes to show you that these people have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Like they have no idea that Bond is like this incredibly flirtatious character, and how he's a character who was literally created to be someone that the women just cannot resist because he's that charming. And it's not like the women don't know what they're getting into. It's like they know the kind of guy that he is. They know that this is most likely just going to be like a one and done type thing. Like it's not really meant to be like this long term relationship thing, which is one of the reasons why I can't stand Spectre and uh, because they did sort of give him that, and I don't like it. It's just it's stupid. It's like they completely shat on the whole concept of the Bond girl to where it's like every movie he has like a different beautiful woman on his side, and that's one of the things that a lot of guys just liked about the character because it played to like the male fantasy of being the suave, cool character who has all these cool gadgets, who saves the world and has a different beautiful woman on his side almost every single day. It's like they completely forgot about that. Now they did kind of rein that in with James Bond with Casino Royale. At least that's from what I've heard. I don't think I've ever seen Casino Royale yet. I will. I definitely will. But from what I've heard is that a lot of people say that James Bond was sort of a lot of hardcore fans. From what I've heard, James Bond was sort of dialed down his how he was initially, and he's not as he was when the character was first created and portrayed by Sean Connery in Doctor No. So they're basically like so they don't need to do all of this. They don't need to do this, and yet they will, because according to them, James Bond is still problematic, which I don't get. Like, okay, if you think he's problematic, then why are you making a movie with him in the first place? You know, like why make a movie with a character that you think is toxic or problematic at all? Why bring any attention to this character at all? Like why not just let the character fade into obscurity? We know why. It's because of marketing, because they know that this character can be really really well marketed, because people love this character, people know this character, this character is known worldwide. And that's the only reason why they're still making a movie with this character, even though they go out there and say this character is problematic and all of that stuff. And it's so goddamn stupid, and you can tell that these people never practice what they preach. And now you even have Daniel Craig going out there and saying that Bond shouldn't be played by a woman because there were um, there were some people going out there saying there were people who were going out there saying that Bond can be played by anyone. No, Bond can't be played by anyone. Bond is a white British male. That's who Bond is. That's James Bond, whether you like it or not. Oh boy. Okay. So so that's all I pretty much want to talk about now. I just want to mention one thing before we go, and this is, I guess you could say, a bit of a promotion for another live stream that I'm going to be doing. Just real quick. Real quick. Just want to talk about this real quick. Okay, here we go. So I want to talk about this for a second before we wrap this up, just to let you know about something that I'm planning in the future. Hopefully, not too far into the future. So I'm just waiting. Okay, no, not this. Here we go. So as you know, I do react to a lot of Swag's videos, Set the Programmers videos, and Clyde's videos here on this channel. So they just recently put out a video where it's a collaboration between all three of them, where they get together and talk about some of the reasons why they think that Boruto isn't really connecting with the audience, with the Naruto fan base as much as they would like it to, as much as the people writing the story would like it to, as much as a lot of the Boruto fans would like it to. So they did this video, and the video is over an hour and a half long. Now, just to let you know, I did react to it. I had someone in the comments asking me to react to it. Just to let you know, I did, and the video should be out soon. In fact, let me just check real quick. So then when is this video coming out? Okay, yeah, the video is definitely coming out soon, and you'll be able to see it. Now, just a bit of a heads up, the video in and of itself, my video reacting to them is over 2 hours long. So just to let you know, and just to let you know that during that video, I had to basically keep myself from commenting on everything that they talked about because I was desperately trying to keep this video from the video that I was recording from being too long. So I wasn't able to get all of my thoughts out into that video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing a live stream where we're just going to go through this video, and I'm going to just give you guys my thoughts on it as the video goes along. And because it's a live stream, I won't really care about whether or not the video is starting to go into the 4 hour, 5 hour. I wouldn't really care about that stuff because it's a live stream. And if you want to stay all the way through, of course, that's completely up to you. Or if you want to stop for a little bit and then come back next and pick up, where we're at with the video. And also, you can see Seth the programmer did do a video where he talked about Boruto, and I am going to watch that, and and definitely do a reaction to this, and you guys will see that video as well when it comes out, and we're going to watch that video as well following this video. So just to let you know, that live stream will happen. That live stream is going to happen where we're going to go into detail and discuss all the points that are being made in this video, and I'll be able to actually go in depth with my thoughts. And we're also going to be watching the video that Set the Programmer did. So I just wanted to give you a heads up when it comes to what's when it comes to that live stream. So I just wanted to let you know about that. So there you go. Okay, I think. Yeah, I think I've talked about everything. Okay, so I'm going to be wrapping it up, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm happy to be back to making videos, to doing live streams. I had fun, but it's time to come back. It's time to get back to making videos for this channel. So, with that being said, guys, again, thank you for joining me. And I hope you guys will join me for that live stream that I just said is going to happen. And because I really want to get your thoughts on the Boruto series as we discuss them live, because I do like your comments when you talk about them in the videos, but I do want to hear from you and talk to you guys live as it's happening. Bye, everyone.